We are here today to vote to get America high. In states with legalized marijuana, there are more marijuana-related emergency room visits and hospitalizations than any other category.
We have rising violent crime in Democrat-run cities across the country. More drug use won't help that. We have 100,000 Americans die of overdoses last year, the leading cause of death in Americans ages 18 to 45. More drug use won't help that. Our government schools and our education systems are failing us. More drug use won't help that. But in fact, this legislation has no prohibitions on edible forms of marijuana, flavored vape products, or other efforts to target specifically teens and young people. Meanwhile, we have surrendered operational control of our southern border to the Mexican crime cartels. And we've got fentanyl and other dangerous drugs streaming into our country at historic levels because of this president's open border policies. How might this impact the illegal drug trade across our country? Law enforcement tells me that legalizing marijuana will force the criminal element to redouble their efforts into hard, more dangerous drugs to replace the profit that's been lost from marijuana. You can also look at the states that have already legalized it.
Our country is facing a national security crisis, an energy crisis, a border crisis, and an economic crisis. But here we are voting on cannabis legislation. How is this helping our constituents who are paying sky-high prices at the gas pump? How does this strengthen our military and help secure America? How does this address Biden's record-breaking surge of illegal immigrants at our southern border? How does this help us to leave a stronger, safer, more secure America for our children and our children's children? Simple answer, it doesn't. We are here today to vote to get America high. In states with legalized marijuana, there are more marijuana-related emergency room visits and hospitalizations than any other category. These are our children. Allowing children who don't know how to rationalize long-term effects of drugs to use a gateway drug for recreational or medicinal purposes is reckless, negligent, careless, and irresponsible. No, I will not. The MORE Act does not responsibly end federal prohibition of cannabis. The MORE Act does not end the war on drugs. All it does is poison our children and weaken our society. This flawed legislation is not time sensitive, does not require consideration this week, and should not take priority over the various serious issues our country currently faces. I urge my colleagues to vote against this bill and put our children first, not the dope dealers.
Mr. Speaker, there's a war raging in Ukraine, killing thousands and thousands of innocent people. Gasoline, diesel, grocery prices are through the roof. For all practical purposes, we don't have a southern border anymore, so hundreds of thousands of immigrants continue to flood into the United States, and the situation there is about to get much worse. Rampant inflation is making short work of the hard-earned money of all Americans, but the main priority for the Democrats this week isn't Ukraine, skyrocketing gasoline prices, 8% inflation, or the border crisis. No one said it's marijuana.